Let me first thank you for organizing such a successful conference. And I would like to say welcome our friends from Korea and colleagues here. I have prepared a PowerPoint for more than 20 pages, but I was told we have limited time, so I'm not going to use PowerPoint presentation, but rather I will hit the point. And later we can have the more detailed discussion. China's position with Korea unification and also North Korea nuclear, I would say that with North Korea nuclear issue, officially it's pretty clear. If we use Chinese word, only 6 words, that is 无核, 和平, 对话, meaning nuclear-free Korea Peninsula, 无核. And secondly, 和平, that is stability and peace, is very critical. And thirdly, 对话, that is to settle this issue, you have to go through diplomatic and dialogue rather than military confrontation. I guess that is, if we call it, is a official stance. But I'm going to later talk more detail about internal debate within Chinese politics and society, particularly intellectual and policymaking elites, and also talk about recent measures, what Beijing has been doing, particularly with North Korea nuclear issue. Let me just start with the idea of Korea unification issue. I guess it's widely believed, my understanding in China, is this is pretty much domestic internal factors would be a key to solve this issue, just like what happened in Germany, East Germany, West Germany. No matter external powers like it or not, if the time is coming, if conditions are ready, then the two societies, the two countries will merge together. Having said that, still, external powers, if we look at Korea history and history of East Asia, particularly ever since Treaty of Shimonoseki of 1895, then Korea actually extensively affected and influenced by external powers. And today, the two key players externally, China and the United States. So that's very clear. At the same time, like my colleagues here already mentioned, Russia and Japan also very important. The EU, of course, would like to play a role as well. So the question here is not that whether the external powers like it or not. Again, it's really the two societies, two Koreans, whether they have a conditions mature or not. The external institution, that's another question. Whether it's necessary to have mechanisms like 6-party talks. That's a huge question. That would combine the factors internally and externally. So I leave that question open. Let me just make quickly about how China's recent movement. if theoretically or academically, when we try to understand the Chinese position, I use three perspectives. One I called history embedded approach, and the second, national interest driven approach, and the third, co-management approach. So it's an evolution of Chinese foreign policy toward Korea from history, national interest, and co-management. Every topic I can talk 10, 20 minutes, but I will stop here. I will move on. So one of the keys, like I mentioned, is the two key players externally, United States and China. Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, they met in Florida for the first time, and the Korea issue is a key. And then last week, they met in Beijing again, and the Korea issue is another issue. Donald Trump tweets a lot, and to start with criticism with China, but then in the end, there are some kind of consensus that Korea issue, nuclear issue, North Korea, must be under control. North Korea actually heavily relying on China. If we look at export, import, here is my number, 85 North Korea export, import from China, 83 export to China. And not to mention other key elements such as energy and food. And on the other hand, North Korea has already 6 nuclear tests and 37 missile tests since 2011. And most recent one is a powerful nuclear test of September. China actually ready to, together with the United States, United Nations Security Council have economic sanctions. Actually, China supported. However, there are some kind of up and downs between China and South Korea, in particular, the issue of THAAD. And actually, China almost ready to have further sanctions, and because of THAAD, and slow down. But recently, last week, President Moon and President Xi met in Vietnam, and it seems like the issue now turned better. Now, let me just make it quickly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will make it quickly about the internal debates. There are what I call internally, there are support North Korea. Should China support North Korea? What we call in Chinese, 保朝派. And another called 弃朝派, whether China should give up North Korea. There are a lot of reasons. I give you 2 examples. 弃朝派, pretty much Peking University Dean, Dr. Jia Qingguo, and 保朝派, Fudan University, Shanghai, Shen Dingli. So, but China has done a few more things. One is cut part of oil export to North Korea, starting from last month. And also, North Korea workers were ordered to leave China. I have some pictures here, and they are now on the train. They went back to North Korea. And also stopped banking service to North Korea. That's another issue. But on the other hand, oil, not totally cut. Up to this month, reduced 10% oil. There are 2 reasons. One, humanitarian consideration, and 2, technical. Because if you cut totally the oil from China, then the facilities, the pipeline will not be reused in the future. So there are a complicated reasons for this oil issue. Let me make a concluding. I noticed that my time is up. My conclusion is that now China and United States, my understanding, pretty much on the same page with the big picture, that is nuclear-free Korean Peninsula. But how to do that, there are some technical differences. Thank you.